Morning,
Hi,
everybody.
everyone.
Morning.
Whose um whose artwork is behind you there, Michael?
It's my daughter's. Oh, can you hear me? Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, my this used to be well, so the story is this used to be the playroom. Okay. Now it's the office. And I kept that there because I like it.
Yeah, I like it too.
Yeah, thanks. So you're running the meeting then?
No, I'm just saying good
No,
morning. No.
Who's Bubbles is rubbing the meeting? Who's Bubbles?
no, it's myself, Ashley. Sorry, Dan's on vacation. I was just getting all the background stuff ready before I turn my camera on.
Sure. Cool.
Hey, so we'll just give it a couple minutes for a couple more people to join, and then we'll get started.
Yeah.
Look at the agenda here. We just have a couple more people joining. But we'll get started. So good morning, everybody. I'm Ashley, as you know. I'll be hosting the meeting today as Dan's on vacation. So today we have Mike Verhoog. If is that how you pronounce it? No? Oh, I can unmute you. No? Just give me one moment here. Sorry.
There we go.
There we go. Okay, perfect. I muted everybody. I think it messed that up. So Mike, I'll allow you to introduce yourself.
Sure.
And then I don't believe we have any new members this week. So we'll jump right into your presentation and then we'll go through the agenda from there. So Mike, if you want to introduce yourself and I'll hand it over to you.
Sure, it's Mike Verhoog, or what my grandpa would say is Mike Verhul, something like that. Dutch background. Um, I'm a dairy farmer north of London, like Staffa, Seaforth, Mitchell area. Um, got into the drone, bought a drone, midlife crisis maybe. Um, some neighbors thought it was cool, so I did some work for them, and then it sort of exploded from there. I became friends with a guy, Adrian Rivard, and now we're partners. We own Drone Spray Canada. Um, we do research in the drone space with people like Bayer and Jason DeVoe with Sprayer 101 and a bunch of other groups. A couple of the products that have been approved now have come directly from the research we've done. We're pretty proud of that. And now, a year and a half ago, we got offered a dealership. DJI said, "Do you want to sell drones?" And now we're selling drones. So still a dairy farmer. Just spend less time in the barn and more time wearing stuff like this and talking to people like yourselves. But yeah, should I just start my presentation now then?
Yes, that's perfect. Thanks for introducing yourself. So Mike will be
Perfect.
talking about spray drones, technology every farmer can use. So if you just want to jump right into your presentation,
Sure.
and then afterwards we'll do a Q&A and we'll do a little bit of a roundtable after that as well.
Sure. So I'm going to do this screen sharing thing. I hope this works. Okay. There's my presentation. Can everyone see that?
Yeah, we're good.
Good. Okay. And I'm going to try to minimize myself here because I keep looking at myself to see how good looking I am, and it always distracts me. Um, all right. So, spray drones technology any farmer can use. The reason I titled it here today is just sometimes technology is hard to use or too expensive. Um, and personally, the best kind of technology is kind of stuff where it's doing all kinds of cool stuff, and we don't realize how much is happening in the background. Um, So I introduced ourselves already. The things that I didn't say before, like I mean, you can see our shop here and sort of inside. You know, we're a dealership now. We're not just research. We're not just farmers. Um, yeah, it's been quite the few years. Moving forward, trust the dairy farmer. That's me. That's me in the picture. I'm the dairy farmer. Um, we use this on our farm, and so that's why we started doing this stuff. I started doing things like foliar feeding because the application cost just got so much less. We can get on there any time of the year. We could get that spray down into the canopy of the crop and mix it in. It allows us to do a lot of different kinds of testing too, because I could go out there with my own equipment very quickly, do little test strips, and see what made sense, what was going to be profitable for the farm. Um, Other things that the drones can do, there's a huge variety, lots of niches that happen here. A big thing is greenhouses. So I don't do a lot of this work, but Adrian does. Um, Shading the greenhouses used to be done often by hand. So people just walking up and down spraying. There is machines that will do this, quite expensive. So the drones do a great job of this. Um, right here, I'm going to bring up a video. So this is us doing some frost seeding. So what you can see here in this kind of technology, this is flying all by itself. We fill it up, we put a battery in, and we press go. This thing goes up and down. You can see in the bottom left, it follows way lines, um, and it just seeds it. You can see in this video how many pounds we're putting out, how much time we have left. It's going to come back. It's going to tell us how many acres it did. And that way we're doing a really precise, really accurate job frost seeding, and we never touch the ground. If you're typically guys got to start super early in the morning with an ATV or something like that. And then once the sun comes out, they have to quit. With the drones, we can just keep going all day. Um, this is sort of what it looks like. It's just a broadcast seeder. So nothing real special here, but it does do the job. Just a happy customer. Now, broadcasting into standing crops. This is huge. On my farm, we actually grow 15-inch corn for the corn silage, so we can't really drive through the corn without tramping. Um, what we do is broadcast rye before we take the corn silage off, and that way I get a couple weeks of that growing, and then the corn silage comes off. My rye is growing already. We spread manure on top. It incorporates that manure really, really well. And then over winter, and then in the spring, it comes. We put lots of N on. We'll do that with the drone as well. And then we harvest that for the cows. So it gives us a little bit of a boost. We get it in there earlier. Lots of people are using this as well to establish nice cover crops, especially in corn. We do in soybeans as well. But in corn, like a year like now, there's still corn in the field. You're not going out there establishing a cover crop right now, but we could have had that established before the corn's ever taken off. This is just an example of what we see. That's a beautiful cover crop that somebody's working in, which was established with a drone. Forage application. I talked about this already, but here's a nice little video we can watch. This is us going out there doing some foliar feeding. And you can see all those tracks in the field. That's actually manure. We put lots of manure on our alfalfa fields. But that's not the drone, the tracks, because drones don't do that, right? And this is, you can see a nice little video here. It turns around all on its own. This all happens by itself. The amount of technology in these machines, this machine's got LiDAR, radar. You aren't hitting stuff. You actually, on the screen, AI is working and it will identify hydro wires. It'll come up and say hydro wire, or it'll come up in red. or a person if they're walking by. It'll say human or a truck. Starts to identify some of those things, which is pretty cool. That's on the new T100s. That's the newest version. Again, just another nice video here. This is the new T100, pretty cool. We did some promotional videos, and I think it's cool. But anyway, that just videos are fun because there's not a lot to talk about because it's pretty basic. What we're doing is we're, applying things to the fields, and we're doing it from the air, and every farmer can use this stuff. This is really the big difference when we're talking about sprayers, especially self-propelled sprayers, helicopters. That's out of the reach of most farmers, cost-wise, also skill-wise. I mean, who can fly a helicopter? But these things, we can get licensed, we can teach people how to use them, and the hard part of the flying is taken out of it. The safety is all done on the drone. Um, Next slide here. There's lots of companies jumping on board. We're getting lots of products that are specially formulated for drones. This comes with all the research that's being done. And we use all these kinds of products. This is just talking about some of the benefits of this product. There's a 15 bushel increase using Kangaroo with a drone compared to the check. Now, this is a lot of what we do. So we do tons of test tests with the drones, and the real benefit is we can come out and do these really easily. We can do multiple different things really quick. We can do it all out of the back of the pickup truck. So if you want to do a test plot, you don't have to pull out the tractor and the equipment. We can just go with our pickup truck with the drone, do plots. We can have it all recorded. Um, there's lots of benefits of the drones. The next slide here is sort of some of the stuff like we do this a lot on our farm. This is a multispectral drone that we fly ahead of time. So we're going to measure crop health here. And then we go and we say, well, why, why are parts of the field green? Why are parts of the field red? Why are parts of the field yellow? What I do on my farm is we do this, and then I go to a red area and I say why. So I'll go to take tissue samples. I'll go say, well, you can look on this one and say, well, maybe this was compaction. If you know the history of the field, you can say, well, this is what's going on here and this is what's going on there. Um, what I do is a lot of times I like to put a lot of N on later. So I'll go out to the field, take some tissue samples of the corn in the red areas, in the yellow areas, and in the green areas, and then I'll send it off, see what the end requirements of those specific colors are, and then we'll put a prescription into the drone. And then I'll fly on urea and save money, do it myself, and put it on as a prescription. There's lots of drone technology out there for agriculture. Multispectral is one of them. If you've ever seen the satellite multispectral images, they're much further away. The accuracy is much lower. I can actually put a pin on one of those spots, walk out to the field with my phone, and it'll bring me to that spot. Uh, and yeah, so that's sort of the end of the presentation. Most of what I like to do is, answer questions and talk about what you guys want to talk about. So yeah, we're Drone Spray Canada, and if you want to buy a drone, let me know. So anyway, that's the end of the slideshow, but I'd love to answer some questions. Okay. So if there's any questions,
I don't see any questions in the chat. If you do have a question, just come off mute. Matt McGinty, I think you were first to come off mute. Did you have a question?
I was just wondering, in 2026, I'm looking to do sort of an ag tech demo day here in Niagara. Would you be open to that sort of thing if your schedule allows to come out and maybe give a demonstration, show it off, do some tricks, some barrel rolls, whatever, you know?
yeah, everything but the barrel rolls. We're actually working hard in the Niagara area, trying to open up some new markets that way. There's tons of opportunity with the fruit and veg and grapes and stuff in that area. But yeah, absolutely. Look us up and send us an email, and we'll see if we can make that work for sure.
Is DJI a Canadian company or where are they located at? Where's their head office?
Yeah, so DJI's massive Chinese company.
Okay, got
So
it. Because at every conference I see DJI,
yeah,
but I never see them there themselves. I always
no,
see sort of dealers and things like that. So, okay, that's great.
yeah, yeah. They go from toy drones,
Yeah.
little minis, to ours are 5 feet across.
Okay.
So they're the largest drone manufacturer in the world,
Great.
and there isn't honestly a whole lot of competition. And
Yeah.
there's work to be getting drones built in North America right now. Not sure if we'll ever catch up, but
Yeah.
that's where it's at.
Perfect.
And,
Well, I look forward to connecting maybe after this then.
Yeah, cool.
and there are potentially some trade barriers too, especially the US is getting a little worried about DJI as a national security threat. But anyway, that's not for us to worry about. The US has got their own problems.
Yeah.
I'm interested in ballpark figures or case analysis of initial capital investment or service fees or small farmer getting into this. How do you start? What do you do? Do you start with one? Do you just a higher fee for service? Just a little bit of the adoption process for getting involved in a technology, largely from a financial perspective. So how do farmers start, and what's the path getting into this?
Yeah, absolutely. Um, so there's sort of three levels to enter into. We have three different size drones. The T100 big guy, you're talking 500 acres a day, like at 3 gallon acre work. Um, they're 55,000 for everything you need to fly them. Okay. Then we're talking the T50, and they're right around that 33,000. Same deal, 3 gallon work. You can get about half that. So 250 a day. Then we're talking the T25. It's half the 50 again. It's a smaller drone. We actually mostly sell them to like smaller orchards, smaller fruit guys. There's a lot of Phragmites out there that are getting killed, like the invasive species work, some niche work. We sell a lot of T25s into that kind of work. Um, so I always tell guys, drones are the spray drone's the most expensive drone you're probably ever going to buy, but the cheapest piece of farm equipment you're ever going to buy. Um, the if the typical farm, what's the typical farmer? If a guy's working running 1,000 acres, I'm saying we got to get into the T50. We don't need the great big one unless you think you're going to do some custom work or something along those lines. Now, operating costs. When I had my T40, that was before the T50, a very, very similar drone to the T50. I put 8,000 acres on that drone. Um, my depreciation, cost for fuel, and cost for repairs was less than $3 an acre. That was after 8,000 acres. We had about $800 of repairs. A motor and a pump went at about 6,000 acres. Um, Fuels just to run the generator. And my depreciation was I bought the machine for 36 and I sold it for I think it was 20. Um, so super cheap to operate if you can put the hours on it, if you can put the acres on it. If it sits, your depreciation's massive, and more so than a typical ag equipment. And that's because it's sort of the way we've seen it, it's sort of like a cell phone. The new version comes out, the old version's useless. It's not, but that's the way it's perceived. And we see huge depreciation once the new version comes out. So mine was $3 an acre. Custom guys will get that. If you can't get the acres on it, you should keep it longer. That's sort of the cost to run it. Now, to hire someone, we're we're basing our pricing on what's out there. So we have like, and I'm talking high lift, expensive ground rigs. They're charging anywhere from like $14 an acre to $20 an acre. There's a big range there, depending on if you go to your neighbor and he's like, sure, I'll come and do it, or you go to the agronomist that has his sprayer, he's busy going, they can get up to like 20 bucks an acre. And then you have helicopters and airplanes. They range from like 16 to 20, $22 an acre. So I tell my guys, and what I always worked at was like 16 to $20 an acre for typical spraying. And then we quote jobs for dry. So dry can get anywhere from, you know, putting on 8 pounds an acre of product to 200 pounds per acre of product. So it's more of a per pound cost at that point. Does that answer your question?
Perfect.
Cool.
Kate, I think you had your hand up next, so if you want to come off mute.
Sure. Thanks, Michael. So my name is Kate. I'm from Cywa.ai, and we have a digital product called Cyron. And I presented here at the Agrobotics Working Group, so some might be familiar. But we are working on a product that we've worked with the WAFRI and received funding. So with our product, you fly a drone for scouting purposes primarily, and
Yeah.
you can detect weed species, invasive plants, and we worked on herbicide-resistant Canada fleabane and cornwater hemp. And then you can
Yep.
detect where these plants are in your field, and then map them, create polygons, create herbicide prescription maps, and then do targeted applications or spot spray applications. And then
Yep.
eventually, obviously, feed that straight into your spray drone. But for now, put that into your ground rigs and then for Case IH or John Deere and so forth.
Yep.
We're quite strong at that. We were looking at doing plant stand counts. So down in the south, some cotton farmers are saying, how much emergence did we get? But we have a lot of strong competition in the agricultural sector as well. So I'm wondering, so for instance, with Agrimo, Solvi, and Pix4D, so some of the drone service providers we're talking about are already partnered with those companies, or some of our farmers already are using those products. So I'm just wondering, do you see Ontario farmers or Canadian farmers in general using drones for scouting purposes? And do you see that use case for creating herbicide prescription maps and more on the scouting side leading into the spray drone side of things? And have you had any experience with our competitors, and do you have any thoughts on them?
Yeah, I have a customer who uses a product. So he scans ahead of time. It identifies the weeds. He feeds that into his drone, and it works. It's actually pretty cool. I mean, the the people ask me about See and Spray, right? We're obviously not, well, we're not there yet, not obviously. Ground rigs can do that. But the way we look, like a drone is sort of like there's no boom. So it's sort of like one nozzle. So we can almost got to look at the drone like one nozzle that sprays 30 feet wide, right? So our shutoffs can only be a 30-foot on and off, like widthwise. So the See and Spray thing, that's where like we got to set the. I've done lots of work doing prescriptions. Our width, our swath width needs to be set, or our shutoff needs to be set to 30 feet. So then the pixels get a little bit larger, if you know what I'm saying. Um, so yeah, absolutely. It's already happening. I don't know what the quality's like. I've only seen videos of him and talked to this guy. What I do on my farm is if I just take the drone up because we do all pre-emerge spray with a typical sprayer, and I take the drone up and I do visual spot spraying. So I just fly around and spray stuff. If this was all done with the drone ahead of time, the technology in the drones, I think, is there. It's more the AI stuff that needs to get caught up to do that really well. Um, but I do have a question for you. What's in the coffee behind you? Is
Uh,
it a latte or something?
I don't know, just a pen.
Yeah.
No, thanks so much. This is really interesting. I definitely think we should chat offline about this, and perhaps you could maybe pilot our technology and we could put it to use in the field.
Absolutely, 100%. Yep.
Great. Thanks so much.
Oh, and cost is a big part for people on that one. It's this software that this guy's using is quite expensive.
Yeah. So
So,
what per acre dollar would you like to see for a scouting mission on
she, uh, you know what? I have very little success charging people for scouting fields. We charge we charge $3 an acre to map out somebody's field, and that is a price that is not us making any money really. That's a price to service our customers to get them more information.
Yeah.
Um, and that's because we own the drone. That's before the software. I pay I pay I think $4,000 a year for the software I'm using. It doesn't do it has it has ability to do prescriptions and mapping and stitching and all that kind of stuff. There's also free software out there that does the stitching. I've not seen free software that'll do stand counts, that kind of stuff. Um, so farmers, I think we have to get used to this. I'm a farmer. We don't like subscriptions. It's just constant. We don't want to know what it's going to cost us. We want to buy it. We want to own it. Um, that's for DGI. We haven't had to do that yet. DJI doesn't have the software. We can fly the drones without paying a subscription. So it's going to come down to cost benefit. If somebody's
Yeah.
got the tool already and we can show them that you can save money by spending, so much per acre or so much per year to do it, then it works.
Yeah.
Um, the models I'm seeing for, I think this other guy has to pay so much an acre or so much an upload or something along those lines. To me, that makes it so the farmer's not going to play with it. They're not going to try it. They're just going to sort of, well, we need it here. We're just going to use it here. That might be a barrier to entry. If it was a annual cost, you could pay for it once a year and then use it everywhere. You just automatically you go and you do it instead of just it's going to cost me $3 an acre and I'm cautious about it. But there's not a lot of use cases for this.
Hmm.
Um, yeah,
Yeah. Okay. No, very insightful. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. We have a couple of questions in the chat next.
yeah.
So Carrie Gates asks, do you work with other drone brands or just DJI?
DJI only. Yeah.
DJI only. Perfect.
Yeah.
And then the next question is from Dan. He's interested in environmental limitations. How much wind can you tolerate to fly your drone? Can you fly in rain or mist? Also, does the person have to have line of sight of the drone while it's operating, or can they go off and do kind of other work while the drone's operating? So a couple questions in there altogether.
Okay. Um, so one thing I didn't mention is this has to be the products have to be drone approved on the label to use. Okay. Um, we are not very far in that process now. There's only maybe 5 in Canada that are approved, none of which really most people would use in agriculture. The big ones like fungicide aren't there yet, but June, July, we're hoping, the rumors are this season we'll have them available to us. And we just started glyphosate trials as well. So that's sort of exciting stuff. Um, Sorry, the question was, okay, one of the questions was line of sight.
Mhm.
A couple things there. You can get a license. It's harder to get. So today you need the advanced drone pilot's license to fly a drone of this size. Okay. You To be able to go out of line of sight, you need the next level up, which is I forget the name of it. Another license you require, but also part of the question was, can we walk away and do something else? The drone lands like every 7, 8 minutes. We got to put more product in and a new battery. So you're not walking very far just for time, but you should be paying attention to your aircraft for safety. Um, a lot of times you've got people stopping, watching. Like that's just the reality of the drone space right now is sometimes I'll have 30 people stop and watch. Um, so you need to be there for sure. Did I get everything there? I'm not sure if I did.
There's a couple other ones.
Yep.
So just building off of that, of what Dan was asking of about the line in sight. So is there labor savings or not? Because you still have to have somebody there operating it at all times.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I would say so. If we compare a large ground rig doing corn fungicide, they're doing like on their best day, well, best day, great day, 1,000, maybe 800. They need a guy in the tractor, in the implement. They need a guy tendering them because they take high volumes of water. Um, in our system, one drone will do 500 acres a day. It's maybe a longer day, if I'm being honest, but we can go longer because we don't need to see. We can work in the dark basically. So you can start really early in the morning, go late at night. Um, so 500 acres a day, one guy, no tender, right? So you have everything with you at the beginning of the day to run all day. So I would say two guys doing 1,000 acres a day or one guy doing 500 acres a day. The labor is very similar. Um, skill set wise, probably similar as well. You can't run a sprayer without being a good operator, and the
Hmm.
guy running the tender is a transport truck driver. So um, that's maybe a little biased. I think generally a spray drone, one guy's getting less done per day, um, just because the drone flies a little slower. It's hard to sort of get a right answer there. It all sort of depends what you're doing.
Okay.
If you have to put 20 gallons per acre out, that ground rate's getting a lot more done per acre than the drone. But if I can fly the drone at 3 gallons per acre and he has to run the ground rig at 20 gallons per acre, because that's what you have to do to get similar coverage, actually. The drone does a great job at lower rates. Um, I can do quite a bit. I can keep up to that ground rig.
Okay, perfect. And then just his other questions were more logistical of like can the drone fly in rain or mist
Right.
or what's the wind tolerance on it?
Yeah. So rain or mist, absolutely, it's not going to affect the drone. It's probably going to affect the spray though. So I'm going to say no to rain or mist, right? But ground rigs can't do that either. That's more of a product thing. Wind speed. We have to be more careful with drift than a ground rig is. We fly 10 feet above crop, and a ground rig can go quite a bit lower than that. The difference is we blow the product down. So that makes up for a good chunk of that 10 feet. It pushes it a long ways. Um, but I like to say I'm not going to spray a field over 25 kilometers an hour. And less than that's probably better. And that's in corn. Corn, we can go a little higher wind speeds.
All right, perfect. I think that answers all of Dan's questions.
Okay.
The next one in the chat is speaking of single drone limitations, have you done any research using swarms of drones? I'm assuming he means multiple drones at the same time.
Yeah, so I fly typically two drones at the same time. Um, somebody's helping me fill, so I can focus on those two drones. They aren't swarming. They don't know where each other are. I'm splitting the fields up. That technology is there. The older drones could swarm, and my understanding is there's some restrictions on rules to swarming. Um, so I think it's more of a regulation thing. But if the drones could swarm, you don't need bigger drones, you just need more drones. I actually think the drone we have today, we don't need to get a whole lot bigger. I'm happy to fly two or three drones in one field if everything is flowing nicely, if everybody knows where they are, if it's safe. Why not?
Oh, perfect. And then the next question from JC. Michael and Kate, you'll be very interested in the next agro. Oh, I think you're just talking about the next speaker. So we'll talk about that later in the meeting today. Um, and then the next question is, can you clarify for some in this group what you are legally allowed to spray?
Yeah. So in agriculture, there's no pesticide, herbicide, fungicide that you're allowed to use. Um, is everybody still there? Something happened.
I can hear you.
There.
Yeah.
You can hear me? Okay,
Yeah, you're
good.
good.
Okay. So yeah, no pesticide, fungicide, herbicides that are allowed in typical agriculture right now. The couple that are more commonly used that are allowed is like Garlon for under hydro wires and throughways and stuff like that, and a product called Agro. It's for Phragmites. Um, we've helped with that one. What we can do on label right now is frost seeding, fertilizing, um, cover crops, um, foliar feeding, that kind of stuff. Um, but we are aware that fungicides are probably coming this year. There's also rumors that the federal government is saying just put drones under aerial labels. That's what happened in the US, and they are way ahead of us. So drones are flying all over the place in the US, putting out different types of herbicides, fungicides, pesticides, um, where we aren't there yet because of our rules. Um, so it's coming. It's actually not there yet. Um, yeah, that's the answer.
Perfect. And that kind of leads into David's next question as well. Which countries in the world are leading the use of drones for agriculture specifically? Like what regs or generating real value propositions?
Yeah. So going off the top of my head, it's by far China. By far Brazil, India, places like that. Um, in China, 80% of all products are sprayed through a drone. Um, there's lots of reasons for that. One, it's a lot safer than a hand sprayer. That was happening a ton in China. Very small fields. It's there's government grants available. It's in China to get these drones. I was listening to something a few days ago that I mean their cost to purchase a drone is something like 5,000 US, where our cost is something like 40,000 US. Um, so it's really cheap. A lot of farmers have them, and it's been allowed for a long time. The regulations are there for them to do this. Um, US is not anywhere near the leader in this. They're last I heard they were DJI's number their fifth highest country for drones with the interestingly with the highest amount of complaints. Um, so that DJI really pinpoints that last bit because we would fall in there as well. We're not very high up there right now. There's maybe a, a little bit of an estimate around 1,000 drones in Canada right now. Um, and there's a ton of work to get these to products approved, to get regulations for flying approved. There's a lot of work happening.
Okay, perfect. We still have a couple more questions.
Yep.
Um, I'll get to the final question. One person also said in the chat for objective science-based drone application information, they highly suggest looking at what's been published in Sprayer 101, and there's a link in the chat as well. So if you are interested in that, anybody in the group here, check out that link there for some information.
And that's all
Then
that's all been done with our group.
okay,
Like that's our data with Jason. Yeah.
okay, awesome. And then Carrie asked, have you done any work on applying biological control agents like predatory mites and beneficial insects?
Yeah. Yeah. Started that with drones. I believe last year we did like 2,000 acres. Our company did. Um, Pretty interesting stuff. I don't know a whole lot. It's very expensive. Um, but there was a lot of success. The farmer was quite happy, and we're doing quite a bit more for them this upcoming year. And some of the customers I've sold drones to plan to do that this upcoming year as well.
Okay. And then there's still a couple more questions coming in, so we'll keep on going. Um, Jay LeBouf said, I was on a webinar with Transport Canada recently, and they mentioned that a concern with drone application of pesticides is that the rotors are variable speed and not all running constantly at the same speed, and that can affect application uniformity across the swath. Have you done any testing with this?
Absolutely. So we do tons of swath width, swath quality testing, efficacy trials. Um, the difficulty with drones is the consistency. Um, the difficulty with drones is there's not a lot of information out there. So, do you fly at 25 feet wide or do you fly at 22 feet wide? What speed do you fly at? What height do you fly at? A lot of variables. Um, the downwash is a hugely important part of what we're doing. We're not using I jokingly say, like a ground rig uses 20 gallons. We use of water. We use 3 gallons of water and 17 gallons of air to push this product down into the canopy. Now that air is hard to manage, especially when it slows down. Swath width gets narrower, speeds up, swath width gets wider. It changes consistency. For a drone to fly, we've got 8 motors and they're all going sometimes different speeds. Um, so yeah, that's a big thing. Consistency wise, the drones are terrible compared to a ground rig. Efficacy wise, the drones sometimes do better than a ground rig. And that's we're trying to figure out why. That's I think Jason DeVoe's biggest concern is why. We got to know why before we can say yes. And there's a lot of work being done. We do a ton of the work gets done in tar spot in corn. The benefit of that is tar spot is like a big piece of water sensitive paper. If it didn't get fungicide, you can see it if it didn't get it done properly. This past season, tar spot wasn't very large pressure, so our studies didn't give us as much information as we would have liked. The year before, it was the tar spot pressure was quite high, and we had tons of great data.
Right, perfect. And then the final question from David, and I think this is more for the group. So feel free to come off mic if anybody has any comments, is does anybody use drones inside a greenhouse?
Not spray drones.
Not spray drones. Okay, perfect. I think that's it for the questions today. Unless anybody else has any questions, feel free to raise your hand or come off mute for any final thoughts. Otherwise, thank you today for your presentation, Mike, and all the questions that you have answered. We appreciate it. And then we'll move on to our next section of the agenda, unless anybody else has any comments. Okay, perfect. Again, thank you, Mike, for your presentation. So next is just some project updates from the working group. So the research proposals have closed for the next growing season. So the next step will be that you should have received confirmation that your application has been submitted if you've put in a proposal. And then the subcommittee will be meeting shortly to review them. And then in February, we'll reach out to all the proposals to let them know who has been successfully funded and any feedback that the working group subcommittee has as well. So stay tuned for some announcements of that over the next couple of months. And then I think it's time for our round table. So does anybody have any successes or challenges this week that they want to talk about?
Just a quick question.
Oh, yes, sorry.
I'm not part of this group. Am I allowed to stick around and
Yeah,
listen?
you're free to
Okay.
join the rest of the meeting. It's just a round table that we talk about for different events. You don't have to jump off right away by any
All
means.
right.
You can even join the group if you want to.
Yes.
I was just wondering if anyone had seen the news this morning. Looks like Carney has struck some deal with China to drop canola seed duties to 15% by March. Anyhow, I guess that's
Wow.
something up for debate. I just thought that might be some relief to some of our farmers potentially.
That's
Yeah,
huge.
yeah. In return, we're allowing, I think, 49,000 Chinese EVs, and they dropped the tariff to 6% from 100%. So we'll see Doug Ford's head blow off today, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure you're right.
We've seen that before.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other successes or challenges that this group wants to discuss? Okay, perfect. Or did you encounter any problems that you wish a robot could solve? If there's any producers or industry people that want to speak about that. Okay, we have a quiet round table this week. That's okay. So I'm just looking at the other parts of the agenda. Just a note of upcoming conference meetings, tours, or demonstrations. If you have any, please. Oh, Matt, did you have a question?
Just gonna jokingly say snowplow robots or anything like that to break. The silence bothers me. So,
Perfect. I appreciate it. Yeah, I think we could have all used a little help with the snow this week.
On that note, I actually do have an SME commercializing a snowplow robot.
Oh, wow.
Really, really struggling to find an insurance company willing to insure this robot. If anyone has any leads on that, please do let me know. That'd be much appreciated.
Okay, no, that's a great call out. Um, okay, so in terms of conferences, there is the Northern Ontario Ag Conference coming up in February. So if you're interested in that, the registration link is in the agenda. Um, Kane also has their fireside chat in Ottawa in February. Um, and there's also the Future of Food. I'll be at both of those, so hopefully I'll see some of this group there as well. Um, and then also in February, we have the Ontario Fruit and Vegetable Convention in Niagara Falls. And then there's the London Farm Show here in London as well. The Ottawa Valley Farm Show, and then we have our own first Canadian Ag Robotics and AI Summit. So registration will open next week. We're just waiting for our ticketing company to finalize that. So we'll send out a launch email once the registration is open. So we're excited to get that out to this group and start getting people registered. Matt, did you have another question?
I was just gonna say the Fruit and Veg Conference in Niagara Falls. That's my backyard. If anybody is coming to town and wants to speak about prospective opportunities in Niagara, I'd be happy to meet and chat.
Okay, perfect. Okay, and I think that's it for all of the conferences and events. And also, we do have our job board. So if you have any ag robotics opportunities that you want to post to the working group, feel free to send it into our inbox. I've also been discussing with different universities for co-op opportunities. So if you are hiring for co-ops, you can post on that too. We do have connections with various institutions to help find students co-op opportunities. So feel free to reach out to myself or Dan when he's back from vacation if you're interested in posting anything as well. Does anybody have any new funding opportunities or announcements that they want to discuss?
I have one thing I just dropped in the chat. I'm sorry, I can't
Oh,
find the
sorry,
hand
I
raise.
didn't see that.
I can't see the hand raise button. I'm so sorry. Really
It's
rude
okay.
jumping in. We're partnered with the Canadian Robotics Council at CENGen. I've just put in a link in the chat. They're looking for people to complete a 7-minute survey with respect to robotics or physical AI to support Ontario's 10-year AI strategy. So I would just invite people from this group, if interested and willing to support, to take just 7 minutes to contribute to that. It'd be much appreciated.
Okay, perfect. And then we'll add that to next week's agenda as well. I don't know when does that survey close, Lisa?
Ooh, I'm not sure. It says last
Okay.
call before the briefing, so I'm thinking that time is of the essence. So
Okay, perfect.
please do have a
If
look
it's
as
still
soon as
open
possible.
next week, we'll submit it in our next agenda to get the broader group as well. But I'll take a look to see when that closes as well. And
Oh,
then
sorry, it says, oh dear, January 12th. Sorry, responses received after January 12th will still inform our longer term policy initiatives.
okay, I think it's definitely still worth
Yes.
submitting the survey. So if anybody has a couple of minutes to do that, that would be great. I think that's it for our agenda for today. So unless anybody else has any questions for Mike or anything for the round table, um, now's the time to ask. Okay, perfect. And then just a reminder, our next speaker will be Jean-Christophe from Tech. They'll be talking about the veg forecast, augmenting scouting with twice weekly drones and computer vision. So building on a bit of what Mike has talked about today, we'll continue our drone discussion next week. So thank you everybody for your time today and all the great questions that you've asked and the engaging conversation. And I look forward to seeing you all next week. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
This is the awkward part where everybody tries to sign off really quickly. I never remember how to
Bye.
do this.
Bye.
Bye.